It's been a long day. Throughout this entire trek in the postseason, we have 12 matches lined up, and so far only 2 of them have taken to the holy Game 5. And here we are between PSG versus J-Team. PSG, our number 1 seed. Everyone thought they were just going to automatically transfer into the finals, but they're facing a lot more competition. A big thanks to our sponsors in CTPC and, of course, Caliber for making all of this happen and making it so damn exciting. This time around, we do have PSG for their final game going into the blue side. They have selected first pick, while J-Team will revert back onto the red. And I've got to ask you, I've always asked you this question, but what is the first pick going to look like for the side of PSG? Will they actually just pick a B3 game flank?
I think for the first pick in particular, we're going to be looking at Ari or the Viego pick.
Oh, okay, that makes a lot more sense.
Yes, clearly it's Veigar. I think they're going to, since they're on blue side, they should drop the Viego ban, and it's really going to be up to J-Team to go ahead and ban it away. But does open up some possibilities. They're not going to be able to ban out all that investment into that bottom lane, but again, as we've seen throughout the series, it's not really about the bottom lane, even though it ends up kind of focusing onto the Philios pick that's been, I think, 5 games now.
I think I will refine that statement. It's been about the bottom lane, but not about the picks, or not about how they should go.
It's been about bot lane, but it's not been about bot lane.
Yeah, it's not been about the picks necessarily. I think if you look at the picks and predict what bot lane is going to be like, you're in for a bad time. But PSG, they are going to stick to Zoe and Lee Sin. Kai Wing's talking. He's smiling. His spirits are still up. He has always been the shot caller for the team. So that's a good sign for PSG. We're going to have a very close match, I'm sure. And then Viego is banned out. Not going to first pick that themselves. J-Team, will they leave the Ari up? They have banned it multiple times this series. Let's see if they go for it again. They're going to ban the Rakan instead.
Yeah, I think they are more than happy to see the RA locked in because it enables you to play a big tank up and at the top side. Because again, if you build full armor, there's just no answers coming in from an Ahri, or not enough damage from the Ahri to actually burst through it. And as expected, we see the lock-in of the Philios and, of course, the Nautilus.
Are we running it back? Because that's what it feels like.
I'm really disappointed, but hey, at least PSG this time around, they said, hey, let's stop, please, thank you, stop picking the Xayah. Unified has not looked good trying to engage on this champion, which it feels like multiple times he's trying to do.
Yeah, this is what I want to see, some hyper carry potential coming in from the side of PSG. Unified, you can't count him out. Hypercarry is where he's at, the most comfortable. And so far, I don't think PSG can shift damage off of him. They need more damage from him, if anything else. J-Team going to lock in the Syndra, a very strong pick. We have seen this matchup work both ways, the mobility, but the stronger punch coming in from Syndra on the other end. And I think we have seen these bans quite frequently before. No surprises. Should just be the GP on one side. And for the other side, I wonder if they're going to drop the Sion. Like, Driver is, he's pretty good on his main.
Even if you go ahead and ban away the Sion, the issue is he could go for an Ornn, he could go for a Malphite, and actually I think you're pretty happy if the Malphite does get locked in, because you do have the Tahm Kench to protect your Jinx in this instance, so maybe they end up letting that through. We'll see what they do with this last ban. Of course, junglers could come into question here as well. You ban away a Diana, maybe, just to remove dive potential coming in from J-Team.
Jarvan could be an option.
It could also be like a Kennen pick here. Kennen would potentially also do okay. But again, you're playing into Tahm Kench. That's a very annoying champion to deal with if you want to play dive.
I'm very surprised about this Tryndamere ban. I didn't think that Driver had that in the cards anyway, but we'll see what they go for. I like the tank idea. I like the team fight idea coming over. J-Team, of course, they're going to go for a carry here. Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised that Carey wasn't targeted in this ban from PSG. Let's see how they ran out their
Still very
composition.
flexible with the Graves pick too, Clement, right? Because it can still go into the hands of drivers. So when you pick on this 4-5, you have to keep that in mind when you lock in these picks. But overall, I think they should look for an Ornn, some sort of that's not Ornn.
But it's better. This is the pick I kept on hyping was missing from our playoffs. Strong in lane, better in team fights, and you know what? You can still get your slicing Maelstrom off even if you're devoured. So, fun compositions.
And what do you know? They have dive, right? You go for Kennen Hecarim, it gives you enough dive. I was thinking more of the Gwen Hecarim combination because you can isolate the Aphelios. But again, remember, there's no protection for the Aphelios and the Syndra. So backline access is definitely there. Now, for J-Team, what do they round out this last draft phase with? Do they go for an engaged tank? Do they go for a jungler? That's the question. Currently hovering onto the Malphite. Yes, it offers you great engage onto a clear target of the Jinx, but she has the Tahm Kench. I actually think this is a really bad Malphite angle, but they go for it anyways.
This is a really rough Malphite one. You don't want to run into a Tahm Kench. There's only one viable target, and Tahm Kench is actually the target. That's it. It's kind of a narrow window, but they do feel pretty confident in this one. I have to say, just thinking about the builds, though, Malphite doesn't really want to build MR into the top lane either. So
yeah, this is a really, really bad Malphite angle. I'm usually all about picking Malphite at the end, but I think you would have been much better off with an Ornn pick in this instance.
Yeah.
Because you have the extra zone control offered by the Ornn. You also have the defensive capabilities from an Ornn. Being able to use that ult defensively and having peel for your backline. This Malphite offers none of those.
I'm not sure what this Malphite offers much at all. I'd be very surprised if he ever gets more than a 2. Like, if he gets a 3-man throughout the entire game, I think
maybe he goes full AP and just one-shots Kennen.
My brain's trying to process that, but maybe?
I don't know what else you do, because you ult the Jinx, Jinx just gets devoured.
Yeah, you can only ult Tahm Kench. Like, you literally try to kill support every single time, which is... it's kind of awkward. We'll see how this one works out, but I feel like we have a consensus between us that PSG came out likely with the better draft here.
Yeah, they have a lot more flexibility with this draft. J-Team, I understand what they want to do, play for 5v5s, and Malphite is a 5v5 champion, but they kind of forgot what's on the other side of the rift. And again, like J-Team, they've been very adamant with how they want to build their compositions. They don't change a whole lot with what they do. And it's been 5 games of, does PSG actually take advantage of it? Or do they let the ball drop? And it's been, 2 games of each.
Yeah, it's been very back and forth. And we have to say, even though we have favored certain drafts, they haven't always came out ahead. That's definitely for sure. PSG this time, they are very comfortable. I think team fight is what we've seen most of them, just straight up front to back, good engage angles all across the board. J-Team, they do have to put the pedal to the metal. They have this Syndra and this Graves that both need to get ahead. We'll see if they're able to wrestle the 2v2 control away. So far, PSG looking that they are considering the potential for an late invade. That doesn't come through, and they're happy to pick up the red at 1 minute 25. This will be an unleash from unleash start coming in from Juhan, and neither side has seen it. So should be seeing a bit of a slow early game. Without the vision of information.
Yep, and for the side of J-Team, if you are a J-Team fan, you're looking for the angle for your team to come out in this best of 5 and meet CFO in the finals. It's banking on Uniboy on this Syndra pick. It's just really all about this Syndra. If she gets ahead, that makes things so hard for this Kennen. to get backline access, because the moment he shows up, you just hit EQ from the Syndra, press R. The Kennen doesn't have enough HP to then try and engage onto your backline.
Yeah, that's a great interaction that you just mentioned. You know, a lot of times Kennen's still heavily reliant on that flash to get good engages across from champions like Nautilus and Syndra. I do want to mention Uniboy Syndra, a thing to be feared of. This is one of his big three champions that has the 40 plus KDAs. So whenever he's been playing it, he's been looking absolutely dominating. We'll see if he's going to be able to take that lane lead, which he's already starting to establish, into other places of the map.
Yeah, and PSG, they get themselves the Ahri pick, so we'll see if Bay on the Ahri can find the damage here. So overall, PSG made the adaptations that I kind of asked for them too, right? Get Bay on a champion that can be a little bit more proactive, and if you go for an Ahri that might potentially open up a big hyperscaling tank up in the top side, get magic damage to supplement it. Then they can't do that. That's exactly what happens. They get themselves a Kennen, which means if you go for that big armor stacking tank, then, I mean, he's going to suck in lane.
Yeah, I think that we were on the same level as J-Team. We were thinking about, oh, Malphite, he's going to look really cool here. And then PSG was on a completely different level already. They were like, yeah, we know what's going to happen. Kennen. And Driver's like, I'm gonna choose to be stubborn like a rock here. I'm just gonna go straight up with the Malphite anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. So PSG, they read the plan, but J-Team, the script never changes with them. As we've seen in all 5 games, they've been super adamant about this Aphelios. 5 games of Aphelios, 2 games they've played around it, 2 games they haven't played and drafted around it. This is a draft that can play around it, given the fact that there is Uniboy on the Syndra, but there's a lot better dive threats coming in from PSG in Game 5 over Game 4.
We're seeing some good trading here from Hanabi and Driver back and forth. Hanabi with a bit of that sustained edge. And on the bottom side, I do want to point out that Unified, I think this is a good mental reset for the player. He goes for the cheater recall into the cult. So he's not trying to hard push the enemy lane. He's trying to outscale. I think that's exactly how you want to play it. You know, PSG bot lane trading has been very iffy this series, so giving themselves a good way out.
Yeah, and Game 5s are always similar to Game 1, or similar but different to Game 1. Usually it's a lot about these scaling factors because you're going to be a little bit more tentative, the pressure's on. But contrary to Game 1, where you're kind of feeling each other out, in Game 5, you just don't want to make that critical mistake to throw it away.
Let's see if Kaiwing can find the Abyssal dive. Flash out from Little V, but Decimating Snatch is still coming back. What a good Dreadline from Enzo! He stops the gank right in its tracks! Little V still has to pop both of his summoners, but at least he avoids being killed.
Yeah, that's a great save coming in from Enzo. And this is why, Clement, Nautilus is #1, clearly.
I can't believe the best champions in the PCS playoffs are like Nautilus and Malphite. Yeah, those are literally like our tier 1s. We'll see what happens in the top lane. Malphite, of course, he's gonna have a bad time early. We kind of expected this one. Also misses the cannon right there. And Hanabi off to the races. This lane is gonna look really bad. Driver.
For Hanabi.
Yeah, very, very good. Sorry. I'll try to remain positive. But Hanabi expected to crush this lane. Already crushing this lane.
Yep. He's online. And now he's going to get a gank to help out. So Driver, he's going to have to ult out.
Let's see if he can get the unstoppable force with the flash. I just froze in the middle of the play.
Doesn't matter. You didn't miss anything, Clement.
Oh, okay.
Juhan just sprinted at him. Got a bit chip damage, but nothing happens because Driver, as expected, had to use his ult out.
I predicted it. I didn't even get to watch the screen. Yay! Hooray for play-by-play chops. Nice. I'm very, very proud about that. To be expected outcome, to be absolutely honest. And I'm trying to look for the next point of engage right here. Kennen can certainly start moving across towards the Herald. I wonder if J-Team... I don't think they found enough with the Syndra and Graves yet.
Yeah, of course, Syndra Graves. At level 6, you might be able to find that burst potential with landing the QE with Uniboy into just the R combinations from both Graves and Syndra, but as of now, they've only just ticked over, and we've yet to see them get hold hands and take a look at PSG and try and pick them off.
I'm getting a little bit worried about this Kennen. The Navi so far has been winning 5 CS a minute, very consistently. So you are looking at a Kennen that can just completely wreck your double AD comp. And Syndra doesn't have the best of mobility either, so...
Yeah.
I see this first Drake fight, despite the Syndra Graves, I feel like this first Drake fight should be very favorable to PSG.
I don't even think J-Team are going to think about trying to play for that first dragon. Rift Herald now spawned. Juhan's going to start it out. Why? Well, I mean, Kongria, if he wants to have a say in it, he'd like to have a top laner. His top laner is currently at 50% HP. That's not it. That's definitely not the angle to look for the team fight.
Yeah, J-Team look like they're just going to drop this one, shove the wave, maybe catch someone out, but they're definitely not hard contesting. I will say for the top lane, though, so far, plates are all still up there. So Kennen has been able to get CS leads, but not chip damage, and J-Team will split the map, take the Mountain Soul, take the Mountain Drake, excuse me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wave clear all.
Yeah, there we go.
Glad we're on the same page. But
you just wanted to go home.
For J-Team, you know, you get yourself that first dragon. Dragon, I think, is going to be really important because then you force PSG into a choke point to allow then the Malphite maybe to have some value. At least give yourself a chance to get value out of it. And then maybe if you get priority in your lanes, you can choke them out with the Syndra having control over these choke points.
Yeah, for sure. You know, they are on red side, so if they can seal that Raptor ramp, it would be very beneficial for them. And they're doing a pretty good job at playing defensive, especially for their topside jungle. There's triple pinks being placed right here. Kongria getting his farm is #1 priority. He has more farm than his top laner. And like I said, I feel like he's the real carry of the top side. Like the top laner from Driver, he's utility, he's tank. And Kongria getting him on the damage dealer, far more important for the side of J-Team right here. Taking a look at the bot lane, we are going to have still a small lead in the side of Little V, but that should be equalized and actually flip into favor of Unified once this call is completed.
Yeah, Unified sitting pretty comfortable, not being forced in a position where he has to just outright win the lane like something Xayah would necessitate. And so far, this slow early game is still going to be in PSG's favor, in my opinion, even though they have champions that might not necessarily scale as well in the Ahri and the Kennen, but in this particular instance, they will continue to have value as the game goes forward.
I think Kennen actually scales pretty well for me. His AP ratios are kind of ridiculous if he gets the full combo off. And I think Jinx and the Hecarim, probably both of them, if the game doesn't have any kills, probably better than their counterparts as well. I mean,
Kennen certainly with his damage numbers, but other times when you see the Kennen matchup, you'll see an Ornn come out. You'll see these champions that can mark him off to prevent him from ever getting into the fight. That doesn't exist here on the side of J-Team. They have a Syndra, yes, but they don't have enough other tools to prevent this Kennen to continue to get value, which usually, again, you would see to really stuff this Kennen, right? You get a Lee Sin, and the moment he jumps in, he gets booted out. Then who cares how much AP ratios you got on your ultimate? You're ulting nothing.
And Navi with the cheeky wraparound. It's not going to find much here, and Driver seems to have slowly stabilized this lane. It's always pretty hard early on because Malphite runs into a lot of mana issues, but it does get better. So it seems like Malphite, I believe he did have the mana ban as well. He is going back into much better mana regen. He can start to play, and he's actually gaining back some of that CS lead. So good job on Driver here.
Yeah, he is able to stabilize. Again, the core issue for this Malphite pick is he'd love to just hard stack armor. He isn't going to be able to do it in this particular game because of how many AP threats are available now. Okay.
Oh, Charm doesn't land. Meanwhile, Uniboy finds the smash down and some good gold here, but I'm a little bit surprised. I think that was it wasn't completely timed out. It was close to timing out, I guess.
Yeah, it was very close to timing out, but again, the Herald selection in that instance, Juhan hasn't had good Herald timings in the past 2 games. Previous game wasn't able to get gold onto his Aatrox, which was their sole win condition, and in this game, not able to get gold onto his Kennen. Definitely a big mistake as well.
A really nice find here by the Tongue Lash coming in from Kaiwing. Stops the back. Hanabi once again popping his ultimate. This is 40 seconds before Drake. He's not going to get that one back in the next
also
fight.
Doesn't get the plate.
Yeah, this is kind of interesting.
Yeah, a little bit curious gameplay there as he ults the wave. Does get a big purchase in the Rocket Belt. However, of course, without that ultimate to synergize with it, it could potentially fizzle out. He will go back into the top lane. The plates are about to expire. But as all things considered, like, I think for PSG, they're trying to play for this first team fight. You have the Kraken Slayer completed. You have the Proto Belt. I mean, it's clearly trying to play around Hanabi. I just don't think the second dragon is worth the flip.
J-Team should feel super confident in just marching into this Drake pit. There's no slicing Maelstrom, and you know they have the TP top lane as well, so the only thing Kennen can do is actually just play keep away. So J-Team are going to start that. They're already bringing down a half, but in comes Kaiwing, not fast enough to start to really stop anything, and J-Team pretty happily march onto a second one. So it does seem like to me that PSG are, like you said, focusing on the individual lane win more for Hanabi rather than looking for anything too early on. But I feel like third Drake has to be a stopgap. You have to get something going, or else there's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that third dragon is the key focal point here because hopefully by then you're going to be much further progressed in your Jinx item build, and at that point in time the Jinx actually didn't have tier 2 boots, so any possibility of a team fight is going to rest solely on your Tahm Kench. Hanabi might have gone a little bit too far forward here.
He just popped his E. He's not going to have that. Let's see. Driver's just straight up chasing him down. Flash in for the kill. Goodbye, Hanabi. Oh, the collateral damage misses! Flash in, though, and first blood to J-Team. It took 15 minutes, but they find it in the end.
Honestly, not that poorly played coming in from Hanabi. Of course, using the Lightning Rush at the start to clear minions was a big mistake, but afterwards, he just does as much as he can in that instance. So it's J-Team able to capitalize on an overextension for Hanabi. That's really the key play. And now Duhan, Kaiwing trying to kill this Malphite. Can they do it?
There's no flash. Driver slowly ticking down, and they get the Licky Tongue. Goodbye, and that should be the Herald drop too. A little bit unfortunate for Unified. It's not going to be able to snipe that one out.
Well, at least they are able to punish the top layer there, and they even out sort of the kill gold, but still it's J-Team able to find first turret for this Aphelios. That's really, really nice, and with the minion wave coming, it's going to be really hard for Bay to land the charm, so he just kind of scares them off at the very least, but I think J-Team are perfectly happy with the result because the kill goes on to, well, your weak side top laner. It's a Malphite. Who cares?
Here we have the second Herald drop, and most likely the tower going over to PSG.
Yes.
If I can walk up onto this one, there's only one person here, so should be a fairly easy take. Just a couple auto attacks should knock that one down, and there you go. PSG starting to strip towers across the board right here. The top side really is their domain. They can set up so many plays with this Ahri, and try to split the map away. As we were talking about, the third Drake should be the point where PSG really need to start fighting back a little bit more in the objectives. They're still 2 minutes off. And let's take a check at the items that they're going to get in the next fight coming in. We do have Kongye almost with his boots complete. He's sitting at a very comfortable lead. And on the other hand, we do have Kennen. This time, I'm pretty sure he's going to save his Slicing Maelstrom. So let's just watch his flanking angles.
Yeah, that will be the key point to watch. Can they get a ward in the jungle or somewhere behind the side of J Team? Because as it stands now, vision control in the bot side is in firm control for J Team. PSG, they're going to have to do a lot of work to try and get into it. I mean, 90 seconds is definitely plenty of time to figure things out. So I think for PSG, it's about, hey, we just try and maybe we can get an extra component, that extra fighting potential. Although Juhan setting up topside, maybe they just concede this dragon too.
Be interesting for a play. I'm wondering, are they really banking on Kennen for just straight up side lane solo split push winning the game for them? He is up 60 CS, which is quite a lot, but I'm not sure if that's actually a win con against the Malphite.
Yeah, that is... Okay, they are starting to move their way
Little
down.
V and Enzo could be in a bit of trouble right here. Kongye is the one getting just absolutely
devoured.
decimated, and goodbye. He's got nowhere to go.
Too easy. Dude, that was actually so pretty to watch.
Yeah.
Kai Wing starting things off. You don't think of Tahm Kench as an engaged support the most time, but when you are split off from the team like that, and he's able to get full stacks of Devour onto you, it's just easy to chain the rest of the kits together to lock them down 100-0. So really nicely played coming in from PSG. Find the pick off onto Kongye. Very important target. And now, yes, he's going to respawn in time to challenge the dragon, but you know, it's a very small timing margin. So if PSG immediately turn onto this, they should be able to just burst it down before Kongye even gets close. So, yep, Kongye's just going to say, hey, there's no chance. So, back to farming, guys.
Well played for the scaling composition. That was so nicely done. We had to flash it from Kai Wing to start that one off, and then Ari just popping over the wall to close the trap. So very difficult to actually track that one. Well done. I like how they use the minion wave push in the mid lane just to deny vision and make that one happen. Now, Juhan is setting up for a potential walk-in onto Uniboy, but he's about to get a surprise as Enzo is here as well. We call it quits. And meanwhile, in the top lane, Driver does claw back a bit of gold here. He does take the entire tower down.
He claws it back just a bit, but it's still a 60 CS advantage for Hanabi. This is a monumental gold or CS gap in that regard. And as we look at some of the itemization, we have a collector now completed by Lil V with the extra gold that he got from solo towers, but it is going to be evened out by the rapid fire from Unified. So the extra range going to come into play here. I think it's really, really good. And on the flip side, we'll see how much value this collector can get, because we know when you have a Kennen, when you have an Ari, they're probably going into third item Zanya's.
Yeah.
So that's going to be that extra armor to deal with. Then you're looking at, well, the only target that doesn't have armor is Jinx. So I have to flash to get onto Jinx in order to utilize my collector.
This build basically says that, oh, we have to get a big fight on 2 items. If it goes to 3, you're not looking so hot with that collector. So we'll see if J-Team can find anything here. Kongye is starting to move up Enzo from the top side, and we do have Driver with the TP. But it looks like PSG are playing very respectfully. They're not going to try to hard force things. In the meantime, we do have Enzo trying to find another catch up onto Bay, but that's not really going to work out as it's plenty of wards in their own jungle at this point. And PSG are happy to stall this one out. Once again, looking at the bottom lane, they're up to an 80 CS lead right now. It's about to be Flame Horizon pretty soon, and even though Driver's a tank, I don't think he can survive getting wailed on by this Kennen.
Yeah, that's the issue. Where if he gets caught out on the side by Kennen or an Ari, they will be able to chunk him down at this point in the game because he still wants to itemize towards the armor to deal with this Jinx. And right now, the compositions aren't going to allow him to actually play out that way.
Yeah, very slow and steady gameplay coming in from PSG. Take a look at the harass. It's not as much as I thought it would be, but still, there's no way for Malphite to trade this one back. And the Ocean Drake has gone over to the side of PSG as well, so Driver not going to have the advantage in that one. We are starting to get into the point where, if I'm J-Team, I'm feeling very pressured. You look at Jinx, the BF's already done there. You look across Ari, that's 2 items done. The next has to be your Zanya's. This is when I need to start making moves, start making things happen. And it has to, I think, most likely be around this Drake, but they're about to lose his bot lane, and Driver can't even walk up.
Yeah. Hanabi, level 15 Clement. This man is, I mean, he's far away from level 16, which would be an insane power spike, but still 2-level advantage against Driver. It's a very sizable lead in EXP. And this is J-Team's best opportunity to find a fight, to be honest, because you're on 2 items from this Aphelios. You know, because he's going Collector, his 3rd item spike isn't going to be great, at least comparatively to the Jinx. And there's no Zanya's completed onto Hanabi. That is massive. In fact, he's just going to be going for pure damage. So we might see the Shadow Flame just trying to one-shot targets here, and also just to have more of a 1v1 potential against Driver. Very, very interesting build.
Oh boy, I am getting so scared about facing Hanabi in this upcoming team fight. PSG is going to start to make their presence known across this Drake. J-Team are slowly shuffling Uniboy here, but they don't have the mid lane, and they're pretty slow on the rotation. 20 seconds before the Drake starts. Let's see how far J-Team can get before having to face check here. Driver going to come in. Uniboy with the Banshees. And check the brush. We'll spot out Kaiwing, and they finally get the ward down inside, so they know they're all here and not starting the Drake just yet. We're going to push mid. Charm doesn't land, but things are getting incredibly tense. Finally, we do have a Driver moving in. Flame Choppers getting a lot of good damage on, and Bay goes in for the engage. Again, doesn't find the Charm, and that's the Spirit Rush down, so a lot of resources being thrown back and forth right here. PSG are just going to start this one, and J-Team are a little bit too late to stop it.
Yeah, and again, here's one of the drawbacks of having a Malphite rather than an Ornn. If you have Ornn, you can kind of fish for an engage there, but Driver still looking for the engage. However, they are funneled in. If you engage as the Malphite, the issue is you completely expose your backline, which is not the case when you have the Ornn. You can fish for an engage with ult, but still be able to keep the rest of the kit to try and protect the backline.
PSG are continuing to bait here. Let's see if Uniboy finds anyone. I don't feel like PSG are going to fall for that. It's a little early for the Baron. And now we have Kennen on the flank just waiting for Little V to walk by and return to the bottom lane. There is a wave pushing out here. PSG are playing this one so smart. So much patience. And I feel like J-Team are forced to start Baron. Yeah, they're just going to go for it. This is going to be super risky.
The big thing here is Hanabi, he doesn't have teleport, so he has to make his way over. So he'll show up on mid lane vision, and now they do have Bay shoving in this bot side, which makes a lot of sense because he does have the teleport available to him. 1,000
gold advantage just by pulling pulling J-Team across the map, and now we have hit the flame horizon for this Kennen. 271 CS. He hit the flame horizon on the previous wave, excuse me, but now it's dropped back down in. The key thing is, if he gets a level 16, I think it's insta-go button for PSG.
Yeah, and they're just continuing to buy time for it. I mean...
Oh, Juwan's gonna get caught out right here. The ultimate used.
Doesn't matter.
But really nice timing there with the Onslaught of Shadows. Is able to cancel out the crowd control, and it's go time for Bay in the bottom side. He does have his TP as well. He's going to split push this. J-Team
they have
forced
to start.
Oh, they're just gonna
Oh,
bleed out.
Hanabi. Oh, he could get caught out.
Oh, catch is on Hanabi. Is he going to be forced to use a Slicing Maelstrom? He's trying to hold onto it for as long as possible, but he... Okay, no, not even a flash. Never mind.
It's fine.
Here comes the
but
start.
they get themselves that bot lane tower, and now Hanabi, he does have to stick around. That's the thing. Recall coming in from Bay. He will teleport on in, and now we'll see how the fight starts out. Remember, no Onslaught of Shadows.
Right here. Yeah, missing ultimates here, but Slicing Maelstrom is still here. Hanabi has yet to hit level 16. Juhan about to come in, and Driver goes in. They take the Baron, and in goes the Hecarim, but they're not able to find any kills. They can't get in past the Malphite. That's been the issue right here.
Oh, Hanabi.
Also with the disengage potential. Hanabi, he won't flash blind into that. He walks away, and J-Team find a massive win.
Yeah, I think it's a drawback of Hanabi's build, right? Because he doesn't have the stopwatch. He can't just flash forward and just try and buy time here. Instead, he has to slow play things out, and a great ult coming in from Driver over the wall stalls things out, buys enough time for them to finish off the Baron, and then just dip out. That was the entire play, that entire time for J-Team. It wasn't about the team fight. It was about, hey, we'll distract them with the CC, make him a little bit nervous, and then we just sneak away the Baron and sprint as fast as we can.
It did work out in the very end right there. Onslaught of Shadows, of course, not being there was a huge part of it. And I do want to ask you, like, now with the Baron, what changes? Where can they go with this one?
Well, we are now on 3 items for a lot of our carries, although Hanabi still hasn't recalled yet to buy his 3rd item, but oh, actually, he doesn't have the Shadow Flame completed quite yet. And this is a big point here, because you have to say J-Team with the extra Baron stats, they might have the advantage for this next fight. They really want to try and force this out. Yes, Hanabi's level 16, and yes, this ultimate does shred, but he doesn't have stopwatch. He's opted to try and complete the Shadow Flame, which hasn't come through yet, instead of completing the Zhonya's.
Ooh, this is a huge fight coming in for both sides. Of course, PSG can't afford to just drop this one. It's only the 3rd Drake, but they are itching for a fight. They do have the level 16 edge on Hanabi. They have slowed down Driver, and it's J-Team that are trying to close the trap. They slow Kaiwing. They is still very healthy with the Banshee still up. They don't find the ability just yet.
Almost out of mana.
And yeah, Unified only down a half, but he's gonna go for it. In comes the engage. They target Unified. He's down already. He didn't even get an auto attack down, but Hanabi comes back to kill Uniboy right after.
Lil V's untouched.
Juwan is charging in. Lil V across the wall doing so much damage, and Kongyuan is gonna come in and close up on the trap. Bay is about 2 auto attacks away from falling. Let's see if he can get away. He gets the charm. He gets the Foxfire for the speed up.
Every man for himself.
Goes down, and the smoke screen doesn't land. Bay gets the movement speed. And look at this 200 IQ play coming in from the Hecarim. It's like, well, they got nothing better to do. Might as well take a tower here. And Bay has to outplay this, but he's got nowhere to go. Mid lane is so, it's so drawn out. And with that falling down, that's going to be the 3rd Drake going over to J-Team now on Dragon Soul point.
As I just outlined, because you don't have the Zhonya's Hourglass, it's going to be hard to play these fights out as this Kennen. And yes, he's able to instantly delete the mid laner of J-Team, but it's not enough. This is a really tragic sequence of events for the CC. The hook actually lands onto Kaiwing, which is honestly the more important member between the AD carry and the support, because if you land the hook onto the Tahm Kench, now there's no protection for your Jinx, and that's how Unified ends up dying. If hook lands onto Unified and the ultimate also comes down onto Unified, Kaiwing can still devour him up, keep him safe, and they essentially reset the fight there. So now we'll see how replicable that fight instance is, because if we look at items, there's still no stopwatch on this Kennen.
That was such an insane find right there from Enso, just getting the one target we were talking about in the pregame that can actually be crowd controlled and killed with a Malphite. They find him, and you know, Kaiwing did have his flash, but he was also tagged by Depth Charge, so he had to wait for that to just drop off before he could flash, and he was never given the chance to do so. So really good find there. just I gotta commend Enzo. Like, he's been a rookie novice support, but he's actually carried his weight in a lot of instances. I think we should really start to see him as a support in his own right. Now J-Team charging for the second tower. They start off with trying to get a kill onto Nabi, and he's down! No stasis! That's the most fed member on PSG, the level 16 slicing Maelstrom, and it never came through in a team fight. They try to find a charm. He does tag
that's a
onto
big pick.
Enzo, but stasis is still there. Moonlight Vision going down. The stun finds Kaiwei. He's not going to make it. The base is open. J-Team are marching onto the high ground right now. They're going to play Nexus Defend. The inhibitor has been forfeited here. 32 seconds on Hanabi. J-Team, they smell a victory. They smell the final. They get a double stun right here. Things are getting incredibly close. They have to hold past this wave. Can Unified, can Bay actually complete this one? Juani's revving up. The minion wave is thinning out. Maybe they can stop this one. Bay getting some good damage, but the next wave is here. They still need to hold this one off. One more wave. One more Congo line of minions. It has to go down. Uniboy is tagged down. They go in, but Juhan gets melted. They do take
That's
down.
one.
Oh, no. Juhan survives. He gets out. PSG survive. And there is a potential teleport from Kennen. Here he goes.
Doesn't have flash,
Can he find the
but he has
slicing Maltrope? Going to close off the trap. They try to kill him off once again, but this time they can't do it. No! Slicing Maelstrom doesn't come through. Hanabi dies once more, and J-Team are out. But the Baron is here.
And, okay, Juhan, he's trying to chase him down. They know that they're trying to recall. They're sitting on a bunch of gold. They have to try and find a way to spend it. Then Juhan wants to waste their time, and now they're turning their attention onto this Baron buff. I think it's just going to be free here because J-Team, they have to get these recalls in. The amount of damage. Driver's behind! Driver's behind!
He doesn't have the ultimate, but he's going to try and steal this. Doesn't find the steal, but they will go for the kills. Juhan is in a really difficult position, but they all get away. PSG walk out with the objective. The fight goes on. Oh, and they even get kills back. Unified's getting excited. He's trying to take this one out. They can't tag him down. They're going to wipe J-Team. Wait a minute. Is this the reverse? No. Oh, Jinx falls down right there. A massive find there by Driver.
Oh my god, Driver actually saves the game there. If he doesn't get that kill, he falls. Then it's all down to Uniboy against a Jinx composition. PSG, they find the play, but again, Hanabi, you need the stopwatch, buddy.
He does need it so bad. Look at this play from Unified. This almost gets him all the way to clearing it up. I'm a little bit frustrated that he doesn't flash this one. He should have been able to win the 1v1, but he holds onto his flash, dies there. The game will not close out just yet.
Yeah, maybe he just judged that even if he were to survive that, they wouldn't have been able to end the game outright. And if that's the assessment, then yes, it makes a lot of sense because you want to hold on to this flash for the next big objective, which is this Ocean Soul coming up for J-Team in 30 seconds. But with the Section Baron stats, it might be a little bit difficult for J-Team to try and contest. Again, everything has to line up. Kaiwing has to be a little bit too far forward in order to then punish Unified. But in that previous fight where they did pick off Kaiwing, yes, that is exactly what happened. But Hanabi, level 18.
J-Team
does a lot of damage.
They're going to go straight for it, but look at this.
Stasis.
PSG are straight going for the base.
Base race, base race, base race.
They're just going to keep them here. How many people can they actually keep? How many people will they keep here? A Little V still running away. Little V might even still win this push, but Driver alone, he's falling down. Driver's leaving the base open right here. J-Team are going to win the bottom lane fight, though.
You have to hit tower, hit tower. There's no minions. They can't finish. They can't finish.
They can't do it. They really can't. They're already back in base, and Korea finds a kill. This is going to be a reverse. They're going back the other way. J-Team now marching down the base. The only way for PSG to win this one. Yeah, they will get. They will be able to walk away from that one, but that was so extremely close. Now, let's take stock of the death timers once more. There's only 2 people alive right here. The bot lane towers should be going down at the very least for J-Team. We'll take a look at the inhibitors. And especially for Bay, that's going to be a 4v4 for just a little while, maybe even a 4v5, especially if Driver wants to spend this. Oh, he doesn't have the teleport just yet, but it looks like the mid inhibitor is going to be forfeit at the very least.
Yeah, mid inhib will go down here, And if they find one pick, they can look to end for the side of J Team, but they don't try and force the issue any further, knowing that respawn is coming up for Ari came up for Hanabi, and Bay was about to respawn as well. It was a nice attempt coming in from PSG, but
Kaiwei? Oh, he blind. No, he misses both. I thought he got it, but the Banshees. I'm sorry. The Edge of Night actually saves the recall.
Yeah, Edge of Night coming in massive for Korea, and thankfully Enzo in the last tick of his recall means that even if the Tongue Lash did land, it wouldn't have stopped the back. So J-Team now Ocean Soul acquired. That might be enough damage, but the issue is you have Jinx that just does so much damage in these team fights with these crits, and you also have Hanabi on this pure damage build Kennen that can just one-shot you. So healing doesn't matter if you're not given the opportunity to heal is really the big point.
The stasis is there. Let's look at this ward in the mid lane. I get spotted out. Never mind. J-Team doing their due diligence here. And I think so far PSG's game plan has been to push this into a single fight. Just one fight to end it all. PSG are actually pinging the base. They know if they win this one, like at this point in the game, whoever wins the next team fight is just going to outright win the game. So
yes.
I mean, I was a little bit surprised that PSG wasn't willing to contest on the last Ocean Soul, because they were, in my opinion, stronger at this point in the game.
They had the Baron stats.
Yeah.
But they thought they could just outright end the game. But fortunately for J-Team, being able to get Driver to go on the recall, and he just ults the wave. Clears out the wave, means that they don't have any minions to reduce the damage to towers. So then the towers are just way too tanky. Now, man, Clement, this game... Oh,
I felt like PSG could have won multiple times now. Like, if Unify just flashed, that was a 4-for-1 with 40-second death timers. They could have won there. I felt like the last Ocean Soul fight, J-Team were funneled. They outplay it. They win the fight too. But they went for less riskier options, and I feel like it ends up paying... It actually ends up getting riskier as time goes on. Now we're going to see if they can finally make something happen. Bay is going to go in. He finds a charm to start things off. Everfrost is used right here, and Moonlight Vigil does not land. Juhan
but the Devour, that gets used onto Unify. That's a big cooldown. Now, Malphite can just look to engage. The side of PSG, they understand. All of a sudden, their win conditions just become very, very cloudy. They have to go ahead, back off. And that means J-Team, they're going to be the first ones to walk into this Baron pit, Clement. It could just boil down to this one fight, even though there's 2 minutes for this Elder Dragon. Could be the Baron that spells the demise
Driver
of
gets
this
caught
series.
here. Oh, Driver's walking so far up into the Drake pit. He's going to get surrounded. He's got nowhere to go. He has to pop his ultimate or his flash just to get out of this one. But on the other hand, J-Team starting out onto Juhan. Driver already down to 1/3 health. He's getting stunned up, but he is able to ult away. And the ult doesn't find him. Ult for ult, it ends up okay.
Ends up being an ult for ult, but now with the Tom Kench ult starting to getting close to coming back up here, then PSG can just fight, take a fight again with the extra safety for Jinx. J-Team still looking around. We want to start things out again.
What?
It's the Baron dance, Clement.
Oh, I am getting a little bit...
Boy, he's back in base.
Yeah, PSG know this is a 5v4. They're just going to bait the TP out. It's going to take a long time for the TP to come in. Finally, the TP is
that is teleport. Now they reset.
Yep, PSG are going to slowly inch towards this one, but we have so many different objectives on the map. J-Team can rush for base, PSG can rush for the base, and we also have Elder plus Baron up. So there's so many ways to play this situation, but it looks like PSG will make this all about the last single team fight. They're coming in on 3 different angles. Hanabi has not been seen just yet. Driver is going to cut off, and here comes the massive mouse slicing maelstrom. Down goes Kogya, he finds it on 3 people! Down goes Driver, down goes Little V, PSG at the end, Hanabi saves the game! He is gonna move forward into the finals! He doesn't care about what the rest of the team is gonna look like, he doesn't care about what J-Team throws at him. This man has a mission, he has a determination, he goes down, but he sends PSG forward.
41-minute game number 5. It took way too long for Hanabi to use his first team fight ult, but this is why the pick wins the game. It finds the backline, deletes both Uniboy and Lil V, and that's PSG advancing to grand finals.
PSG, they had some hiccups. They had to drop into the lower bracket, but they finally end up where they belong, in the finals with CFO as potential champions here. This game was such a nail-biter. The draft, I feel like the final evolution, both teams were comfortable with what they got, but unfortunately, I felt like the early game didn't go as swell for the side of J-Team as they wanted it to. You know, I don't think they got much out of the Syndra and the Graves, not enough at the very least, and they were bleeding out very heavily in the top side.
And it felt like it was just too much of a ticking time bomb. We never saw the Kennen flank come into fruition because Hanabi just really held on to the R button for pretty much the entire game.
Yep.
We saw a lot of his early ults went onto minions just to wave clear and just continue to snowball his own lead. And because of the itemization, that's also why we didn't get to see Hanabi teamfight earlier, because he wanted the Shadow Flame and it just took way too long for him to get to that stopwatch. But once he did, once he bought that 650 gold item, the game was done.
Oh boy, he basically one-shot the entire backline coming in, and that was a huge point of worry as I looked at the Baron pick, because there was 3 flashes that were not yet up on the side of JT, and I was like, I'm not sure about this one, guys. I'm not sure about this one. And then Hanabi just smacked them down. What a beautiful play here. To be fair, I feel like this game, the general outline is that PSG came in with a much stronger draft. J-Team were able to outplay in the mid-game consistently, just shut down Hanabi again and again. They had double inhibitors this game, just to remind everyone, but they never had a solid teamfight lead in the back half of the court anymore.
Again, I think it came down to the fact that they went for this Malphite pick and really strong-armed that pick into the composition rather than something like the Ornn. So it really limited their options in trying to play flexibly. It was really all or nothing with the Malphite pick, and he found one good fight, but there were so many others where it was just too hard for him to use that Malphite Unstoppable Force because of the existence of Tahm Kench.
For sure. The only fight that they actually won was because Enso found that dredge line onto Tahm Kench and was able to mow them down. So, yeah, I agree with you. I feel like the Ornn would have been so much better. At least he would have 3 abilities to stop Kennen coming in rather than just 1. So, you know, that does make a pretty big difference. Congratulations to PSG. This was a very hard-fought series. I feel like overall there were a lot of up and downs throughout this one. The most consistent thing was Hanabi, and I can't wait for Hanabi versus Rest. That seems like such an insane matchup between these two guys.
Yeah, that is looking to be a really, really spicy rematch here, and I think PSG have also, you know, through the past 2 series, they've now understood that it's going to be a lot harder for them to just force their way through bot lane, which has been their MO through the entire spring split. And now it's about, hey, we got to be a little bit more creative with our pick ban. Make sure Hanabi is the focus now, because Hanabi has stepped up. He's gotten even better. We look at his regular split form, he's even better than that right now. Yes, I believe he's died 7 times or something in this particular game, but that's not, I mean, maybe to the item builds, but he's still Omega Gap top lane this series.
Yep, Flame Horizon him early on and first to hit level 16 and put a lot of pressure down. I feel like for J-Team, unfortunately, unable to overcome a lot of these laning deficits, but, you know, we do have to do a proper send out of this team. I felt like this team already exceeded our expectations. I thought that J-Team, with most of their, to be honest, their more expensive players being harvested away from the squad, we thought that, you know, this was going to be the decline of J-Team. We thought that J-Team's maybe better years have moved on and formed other teams, but that was not the case. J-Team, they got Uniboy and they got Kongyue back into shape at the back half of the split. They made a strong push all the way to second, but they will fall to the first in Hanabi and PSG. So look at this stats, absolutely massive from
Clement.
this player.
Oh, he gets MVP, but the KDA, oh my
Doesn't matter.
lord, does not matter because he had the biggest play of the game, finding that 3-man ult into the back line. Who cares about the KDA? Look at the damage share though, 31% of the damage share, hefting a lot of the damage load for his squad. I mean, he not only gets MVP of this game, he for sure gets MVP of this series.
I think he was MVP all 3 times that they won. So, yeah, that pretty much makes you MVP of the series in my book. Very well done here. I mean, looking forward ahead, oh, this is a tough road because I feel like if I'm CFO looking at this series, I figured out a lot about PSG.
I'm licking my chops.
Yeah, I know if they can't play tempo, and I think Mission is a very different player where he can actually go with scaling carries, unlike Unitboy, I think, who's more locked in to tempo mid laners. So, there's a lot of things that could happen right here. I kind of want to get your view on the finals as we have them tomorrow. But actually, we are going to go straight into a break, and when we come back, it's going to be a Rider 2 with another great interview.